Hey there guys, welcome back to the channel, and I've got to remember not to shout because I've got a mic on, and you can hear me hopefully over the noise of the wind. Just been out for a little afternoon's fishing, just get out of the house. It's too wet and windy and horrible to do anything else, so just been down here for a couple of hours, and I thought I haven't done a techie video in a while, so I thought I'd show you guys my latest gadget and do a video on it. And it's the Nextbase 422 GW dash cam with the additional rear camera. So let's have a close look at it. Yeah, so then guys, so we're going to have a look at the 422 GW from Nextbase. Obviously I've got a new car, so I wanted to have cameras in all the cars, and for several reasons. One, obviously it's good to have, and two, it's quite amusing when you can watch back something that someone's done, even if it's just for your own entertainment and not for any other purpose. I think it's great, and to have both cameras I think is a great idea, because there's dangers that come up from behind and then they do something stupid and you've got them on both cameras. So let's have a look at the camera. As I say, this is the 422 GW, so it's wireless and it's got GPS. It should come into focus. There we go. And it's I've got it mounted just behind my rearview mirror, and it's all hardwired in, so there's no cables hanging everywhere. It's got the two cameras, so if you just tap on the rear view, it brings up the rear. Tap again, and obviously that's my front one is the main screen, and the rear one is like a screen recording. However, the annoying thing is unfortunately it doesn't record like that. It actually records as two separate files, which is quite annoying. But yeah, and I mean, if you want to take a picture of something happening, double tap and it takes a picture. Press this red button here and it protects the file as well, so it's easier to find if something did happen halfway through a clip. You can just tap that button and it saves it separately in a separate folder, and it makes it easier to find. As I say, it's all hardwired in. If I just stop the recording a minute and have a scroll through the settings, so you have got a driver's assistance thing on here. So if you tap that, you've got an emergency SOS. So with Alexa being built into this, if you said Alexa call whoever, or the police or whatever, it does that automatically. You've also got, with the rear camera, the reversing camera setting, which is currently off. I don't need that because obviously I've got it built into the car, so that's off. We go back. As I say, you've got Alexa on here. You can connect to the app and you can look at your files as well, of what you've captured, all through your phone. And we go to setup. You've got various different things you can do. You've got parking mode, which means it's constantly on standby. If there's any sort of movement with the car while it's parked, it will start recording, which is quite a cool feature. Recording history is set to the max at the moment. Sorry, just focuses a bit, and that just goes, it basically formats the card so you can get as much on there as possible. You've got various alerts. You can set up your time and dates and things. Dim your screen, change your speed units from mph to kmh, you know, so there's plenty of different options with it. And if we come out of that, it is very much a plug and play system. You've got two different mounts with the camera. You've got this one that sticks on permanently, or there's a suction cup mount, and that's the rear camera coming through here and plugging into here. Now I went for the rear camera over the additional camera that just plugs onto the side and looks backwards, because I don't actually think, if we turn this camera, so if we had the camera like that, your view of what's happening behind you isn't that great. So I think they're a bit of a, unless you've got a massive rear, screen and there's no obstructions, it's just pointless having the clip-on ones. you may as well spend the same amount of money and get the permanent rear mount one, because as you saw, the footage and the picture quality is absolutely brilliant from that. And all I've done is run the cable up. I've pulled down this trim here and I've fed the cable all the way through, and I've just run it on the inside of the car. And if we go out the back, you might not be able to see it because of the tint. There's the camera on the back. I've got it about mid screen, just under the third brake light there. And yeah, there it is. Now this was the tricky bit, because I didn't want the cable to come out from the headline in and just hang. So what I've actually done is I've managed to get my hands in and poke the cable up, and it's actually running inside this conduit here, and it comes into here. This just clips off and the cable's running in there and it's coming out there, which makes it nice and neat. So if you've got that option, I would suggest doing that as well. But yeah, it records in 1080, so both cameras have got 1080 on, and great bit of kit personally. All in all, the whole package cost me under 250 quid to fit and to buy, and yeah, I think it's well worth it. Let's get a look at the camera from the outside. Flies everywhere today. So yeah, there's the camera, nice big lens, and yeah, that's just sat there looking out. Now the funny thing is, I don't understand why car manufacturers don't just install dash cams as standard, because with this car I've got the sort of front collision connected drive system, which is basically a camera which is watching the road ahead. Now how hard is it to make that camera record when it's not being used for sensing, or do both? You know, the BMW camera was actually £500 just for the camera. They then wanted another 200 quid to fit it. So, you know, as much as I think I needed one, you know, why would I pay that much for a camera? You wouldn't. Not when you can get the Nextbase ones for you know, a fraction of the price. But really impressed with that. I've had a couple of Nextbase cameras, and in this particular car, my X1, I've gone for the 422, and I've also got a 612, but I've heard bad things about that, so that might end up getting binned, and I'll get another one, probably another 422. So yeah, well worth having the extra camera on the back, and try and avoid them clip-in ones. I think, you know, for the sake of running a quick cable, even if you just have it temporarily, you know, cable tight to your handrails in the back and use it only when you need it. You know, the rear one is probably just as valuable as the front, really, especially with rear enders now. Generally, if someone goes up your arse, it's yeah, the blame game sort of comes in. So definitely get the rear one, I think. And that's the Nextbase 422. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you guys on the next video.